Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to do another little bookish chat where I catch you up on my reading and other things that have been occupying my brain space for the past few days. Firstly, in terms of the things that I've been reading, there isn't really much of an update here because I'm still reading the same things. I've just been plodding through a lot of things and not finishing them, which is a bit annoying, but oh well. First of those, once again, being Haunted Tales, Ghostly Stories for the Darkest Nights by MacQueen. I started this one the week before Halloween, got about 3 stories into it and have put it down for now. It's still in my bag. I'm still intending on finishing this one off. Definitely before December I would like to finish this. But as soon as non-fiction November hit, I wanted to start reading non-fiction, and so I am currently ploughing my way through The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland. The other factor going into this is that it is a library book, as you can see by the shiny cover. And so obviously there is a deadline as to when I need to send this back. I also have another non-fiction book coming out from the library, which I would like to pick up as soon as I'm done with this one. So at the moment my priority is with the non-fiction. This, as the title suggests, is about the history of the Notebook. At the moment it's just really short chapters because obviously the evidence for prehistory and really pre the printing press isn't quite so great, but it is really fascinating thinking about the different ways that we as humans have documented our thoughts. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. And then a book that I actually picked up from work. I think I must have picked this up in a charity shop way back when and just left it on my desk. I'm not afraid to admit that I have a lot of piles of crap on my desk, which may or may not include books that I might have bought and just never brought home. And one of those, which I know I was saving for non-fiction November, is Why We Read, 70 Writers on Non-Fiction. And this is just a short ditty little thing because each of these little essays that these authors have written are usually no more than 1 or 2 pages. So you've just got these short little brainwaves of writers talking about why we read. I've only read 3 of these so far, but I've actually been annotating any key quotes that I've come across. I don't normally annotate my books, but for something like this, especially if I did want to review it, I just wanted to make sure I had those key quotes lined up. For example, Hilton Als starts his essay with "Reading is writing's dearest companion." The next essay is by Brigitte who begins, "Every author carefully sets up a game for us. I read to step inside the game and play, to spot the rhythms, the very special way the consonants knock into each other, to hear the echoes, internal and external, make connections, and guess the ones the author wanted us to find." And this essay ends, "I am a willing reader of all books, as long as they come with an invitation to play and a twinkle in the author's eye." Just little sections like that I wanted to make sure that I remembered later down the line. In terms of things I've been and done, I had my parents around this past weekend. We went to London, partially to meet up with some family friends, but also myself and my mum went to see the Devil Wears Prada musical, which was a lot of fun. I know there are a lot of people who are quite sceptical of film to stage musical adaptations, and I feel like this is probably not going to be the one to convince you if you are a skeptic. You know, it is very much the film, but now with songs. But I think for what it was very well done. The performances were excellent, and it is very true to the film in that they don't even change the time period. I thought maybe they might update it to 2024 with similar technologies, but it is very much rooted in 2006. Is it my favourite musical in the world? No, probably not, and I don't feel like I'm actually going to listen to any of the music outside of the context of the musical, but I had a good time. Me and my mum both enjoyed it, and especially she was gushing about the costumes, which is really what you want from a Devil Wears Prada musical after all. We also, on the way to see the musical, ended up going into Daunt Books and then into the Oxfam charity shop, which is right next door, and it was actually in the charity shop that I ended up doing a little bit of damage. I've been pretty restrained with my book buying, especially having completed my TBR, and even when I was in New York last week I only bought 1 book, but I went into this charity shop and they just had some really good finds in there, so honestly I just gave in. The first being one of my favourite books of all time, but just the edition I didn't have, and it is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Ever since I've seen this new edition I have been holding myself back from buying it. I just love this cover, I think it's so stunning, and I am wanting to read this for I think the 3rd time sometime soon, so nice to have a copy on hand anyway. The other 3 books I picked up are completely new to me. The first of those being non-fiction, and it is The Reluctant Empress by Brigitte, which is a biography of Elizabeth, Empress of Austria, otherwise known as Empress C.C. I had previously read The Lonely Empress this time last year. I don't know what the consensus is, whether The Lonely Empress or The Reluctant Empress is the better biography, but it was one of those finds that I just thought I'm never going to see this anywhere else. And I'm pretty sure I've only ever seen the German edition of this biography listed online. I could be completely wrong about that, but at the time that I was searching for it, I could only find a German edition. But this is English, I can read this. I also picked up The Captive Queen by Alison Weir. I'm on a little personal mission to finish up all of Alison Weir's fiction, historical fiction. This is one of the ones I still have left to read. I saw it, it was very inexpensive, I picked it up. This one, instead of looking at the Tudor court, is actually looking at the life of Eleanor of Aquitaine. I actually don't think I have read any historical fiction about Eleanor of Aquitaine since 2021 when I read The Revolt. Unless, I can't remember now if Matrix by Lauren Groff did that feature Eleanor of Aquitaine? I know it featured Empress Matilda, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, it's one that I've been wanting to pick up, and now I have it, so I'm very happy. But then coming back to my beloved Tudors, I did end up picking up Dissolution by C.J Sansom. I've seen this in many a charity shop and I've held myself back on picking it up because what I wanted was this edition. These new editions that came out with the Shard Lake TV series, I just think are beautiful. I'd actually been recommended to read this by one of my musical theatre friends way back in January, I think, when we were doing Oliver. Then there was news about the TV series coming out and that kind of kept it on my radar. And I'm pretty sure that Claire Fenby has also read this and enjoyed it. So now I have a copy, I've got to read it. I'm also quite enjoying how this goes with my new throw. Do you enjoy my new throw? It's very furry. It's so soft and cozy. Speaking of Tudor TV shows, I was delighted to hear that the second season of Wolf Hall finally had a release date, but I was quite surprised to find out that it is next week. And I've still not finished season 1. I mean, I've read all of the books, but I just haven't gotten around to finishing the TV show. So now I've got a deadline of the 10th of November to finally watch all of those episodes. There's not many, I think there's just 10. And in other bookish news, I was really delighted to hear that we have a new Taylor Jenkins read to look forward to. Her book Atmosphere is coming out, I think, in June next year. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'd even been thinking like earlier this week, not heard anything from Taylor Jenkins Reid for a while. Wonder if she's got a new book coming out, and lo and behold, the bookseller beat me to it. And then before we get on to the women's quotes jar, I just wanted to recommend a few videos to you. Firstly, a video by a brand new booktuber, Reading with Ren. She did an absolutely fantastic review video for Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kinsolver. Obviously, so many people have talked about this book. I might be one of the only people on BookTube who has not yet read this book, but honestly, I have never seen such an impressive, eloquent first review. She's talking about this book from the perspective of being a Dickens fan, particularly being a David Copperfield fan, and I just thought it was fantastic. She's such a truly gifted orator. And then my second recommendation is actually a video series, and it is Katie Lumsden's recent A to Z of Victorian authors, basically going through, I think it's like 150 different Victorian authors, giving little details about their lives and their works, what she's read from them, what she's looking forward to reading. It is split up into multiple videos because obviously that is a lot to go through. I just have to commend Katie on such a fantastic series. It's definitely one that I'm going to be using as a resource in future, so I'm going to link both of those creators down below and their videos. And then finally, before we wrap up, I'm going to be going into my women's quotes jar and picking out a quote to leave you on. So let's have a little wriggle. There we go. And this quote comes from a favourite historical woman of mine. It is, "I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves." And that's by Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein, which I absolutely adore, as well as other books which I have yet to read. So please do let me know your favourite other Mary Shelley other than Frankenstein. But I hope you're doing really well. Do let me know if you've read any of the books that I've spoken to you about today. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.